I am Jenna Bosonko, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And here are the main local business, international and sports news headlines. The National Human Rights Commission, with support from the British High Commission in the Gambia and partners on Thursday, met to validate the consultation to consider integrating human rights education into the basic and secondary school education curriculum. A delegation of health experts from the Muslim World League, a Saudi Arabia-based international Islamic NGO, has completed a week-long medical caravan to provide free eye care clinic service courtesy of a partnership with the First Lady's Fab Foundation. And in international news, as the world grapples with the coronavirus infections, scientists are trying to find out whether natural immunity we get from previous infections can be the best substitute for vaccines. And in sports news, the Gambia got off to a flying start in the Zone 2 Volleyball Championship, with both male and female teams winning resoundingly against Guinea-Bissau. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jenna Bosonko, and you're watching QTV News. Now, the National Human Rights Commission, with support from the British High Commission in the Gambia and other partners, Thursday met to validate the consultation document of review of the basic cycle and senior secondary school curricula, aimed to consider integrating human rights education into the basic and secondary school education curriculum to nurture human rights values in children. Omar Pijalo has the rest of that story.
The National Human Rights Commission is mandated to promote and protect human rights and conduct public awareness and education to promote a culture of human rights. As children form nearly 48% of the population, the school curriculum is deemed the most effective entry point for inculcating human rights values in children. At the event, Dr. Sekou Kausu Gassama, the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, said the initiative is in line with the Commission's mandate to promote and protect human rights through human rights education and nurturing of a culture of respect for human rights, adding that the opportunity will also help the Commission to attain its vision of a Gambia where everyone enjoys their fundamental human rights and freedoms.
We hope this will not be, just another validation, but rather will go beyond that to implement. I think nationally we always talk about studies or policies gathering dust. They may be good ones for that matter, but they would suffer from implementation.
The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Louis Moses Mendy, said incorporating human rights in the national curriculum will help improve the quality of learning by promoting child-centered and participatory teaching and learning practices. This will be done through access to a human rights-based learning environment that is inclusive and welcoming and foster universal values, equal opportunity, respect for diversity, and non-discrimination.
It's important that we begin to inculcate some of these values into our society. And one entry point for this would be really at the curriculum level in terms of the wide coverage it has in the population segment. If these things are incorporated into the curriculum and they are taken into the schools, you are talking about over 800,000 student population from ECD to grade 12.
The British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, believes teaching children about human rights can be a powerful tool in giving them a sense of dignity, respect, and empowerment, as children will learn to identify and know how to respond to abuses.
I'm delighted that we have been able to support the National Human Rights Commission in this work, to identify ways of integrating human rights education into the curricula at various education levels. Against the backdrop of the recent published TRRC report, as we look to the government and others to take forward those recommendations, I can think of nothing more important than teaching the young of today the fundamental rights that they should expect their government and fellow citizens to defend.
Officials believe introducing human rights in schools will lead to a better behavior, increased attendance, and less exclusions, as it can give teachers and children a sense of equality, non-discrimination, inclusion, respect, dignity, and participation. These are all elements crucial to the goal of achieving a more peaceful and just global society. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now, a delegation of health experts from the Muslim World League, a Saudi Arabia-based international Islamic NGO, has completed a week-long medical caravan to provide free eye care clinic service, courtesy of a partnership with the First Lady Fatoumata Barbaros Foundation. Aliou Cisse has the rest of that.
The week-long visit by the health experts forms part of an initiative dubbed Combating Blindness in the Gambia, in partnership with the First Ladies Foundation and the Minister of Health of the Gambia. The team was at the Sheikh Zayed Eye Care Center in Kanifing, Brikama Major Health Center, and Soma. They attended to nearly 500 patients with eye-related medical issues. The First Lady had joined the team during one of their operations in Brikama to gather first-hand information on how the operations are conducted. Speaking at a brief ceremony at Sheikh Zayed Eye Care Center in Kanifing, marking the end of the mission, Fatoumata Barbaro, First Lady of the Gambia, thanked the Muslim World League for the partnership with our foundation. She hopes Gambians will continue to take advantage of such intervention to get quality eye treatment, while renewing her determination to explore more opportunities to uplift the lives of the people. She called for more financial commitment to eliminate eye-related health issues.
If we want to combat cataract, we need to train more people on ground than importing people to come and support. I think what we need to do is to train more people to combat our own problems.
Professor Dr. Nasir Mohammed, on behalf of the Muslim World League, said they are committed to further strengthen the partnership with the FAR Foundation in this area.
Eye health care is critical to quality of life. So, Her Excellency, investing in eye care has a big return on investment. People are able to go back to their economic, productive state. So we encourage, anytime you are investing, please, eye care is another area you should always be willing to invest because the return is high.
Several speakers, including Dr. Abba Hydra, head of Sheikh Zayed Regional Eye Care Center, Lamin Chor, Muslim World League's regional coordinator based in Dhaka, Betty Sen, CEO of FAR Foundation, and Lamin K. Sedi, program manager of the foundation, all expressed delight at the successful implementation of the program. They are hoping to cover 2,000 cases in their next program. Speaking Mandinka, Kausu Kante, a chronic teacher from Sifo village and one of the beneficiaries, expressed gratitude to the Muslim World League, the First Lady, and our foundation for providing such medical assistance. There was a presentation of awards of appreciation from the Muslim World League, the FAR Foundation, Ministry of Health, and Sheikh Zayed Eye Care Center. The First Ladies Foundation and the Muslim World League have enjoyed fruitful cooperation, with the latter providing humanitarian support such as food aid to the marginalized and vulnerable groups through the First Ladies Foundation. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Thumbs up to the FAR Foundation. Now, the Gambia ranks in the world's top 10 for road traffic accidents, with crashes, serious, frequently fatal, a daily occurrence. The Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure on Wednesday presented traffic monitoring equipment to the Mobile Traffic Department of the Gambia Police Force as part of its efforts to boost the capacity of the police in traffic management in the country. Yaya Jawo has the rest of that.
The procurement of these traffic monitoring tools worth $1.3 million by the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure is part of the ministry's agenda to complement the efforts of the Gambia Police Force in road safety and traffic management, something that is sorely needed if the Gambia is to improve its appalling road safety record. The items presented include 5 breathalyzers, 3 speed radars, and 500 copies of accident report templates. The breathalyzers can estimate the concentration of alcohol in a person's blood and can help the police to detect drivers suspected to be under the influence of alcohol while driving. The speed radar can help the police detect whether a driver is speeding. At the handing over ceremony, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Modke Cisse, expressed delights over what he called a historic and important exercise for the ministry in its quest to ensure safer roads and mobility, saying the equipment will help reduce fatalities and road crashes and can help restore traffic sanity.
The speed gun will have all the potentials to make sure that we control and limit overspeeding, as well as the breathalyzer will make sure that we contain and eliminate drunk driving, because these are all illegal by our statutes or traffic statutes.
Momodou Senghor, Managing Director of the National Road Authority, says the construction of good roads in the country is on the rise. Thus, the likelihood of speeding is likely, which frequently results in road traffic accidents. He commended the Transport Ministry for the good gesture and hopes that the equipment will be properly managed by the police.
This equipment will go a long way, of course, in making your job lighter and, in fact, more efficient. Additionally, I want to touch on the data collection as well, because that's where the difference is. We should be in a position to give common classifications for what we call fatal accident and, of course, a minor crash.
On behalf of the Gambia Police Force, Lamin Kinkoli, the Commissioner of Mobile Traffic, says the police have long yearned for such equipment to help them control the traffic. He says the motor traffic recorded 124 fatal accidents in 2020 and 136 fatalities in 2021 to 2022. The Traffic Commissioner believes that the donated materials will help the police to obtain evidence against faulty drivers, thus making prosecutions easier for them.
Taking somebody to court and being penalized and being prosecuted or fined is always difficult because lack of evidence. How do you predict? How can you tell the person that you are overspeeding?
The Gambia has registered an increasingly high number of road traffic accidents in recent years, resulting in many deaths and injuries. Therefore, the fight against road traffic accidents calls for concerted efforts and collaboration from all. The equipment presented here are vital components in this fight, which includes addressing the many unworthy vehicles on our roads. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
Well, we believe the presentation of this equipment is long overdue. Now we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we have some business, international and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now let's take a look at the latest in business. Now, Global Properties, one of the first and leading real estate developers in the country, on Saturday endorsed ST, one of the Gambia's top singers, as its brand ambassador for a 2-year period. Aliou Cisse has the rest of that.
ST has earned the admiration and respect of all through his inspirational music as one of the most followed artists in the country. For Global Properties is among the first and remain in the lead of real estate players in this country, with estates in and outside the country. Officials of Global Properties are hoping for a fruitful partnership with ST, someone they say has huge followers in and outside the country. Ngilan Fai, Public Relations Manager of Global Properties, is looking forward to closely working with ST on their newest project, which is the Greenville project located in Gungur Stifo, a futuristic project. Musa Sise, General Manager of Global Properties, gives a further explanation of the project.
Come this year, we are particularly focusing on, the environment. Real estate companies have been labeled as being, companies who just go around, demolishing and putting down trees and, destroying the environment. But that for us is changing. And what that means is we want to make sure that, everything we're doing is eco-friendly. The environment comes first. We want to make sure that we are not labeled as one of those who would just go around, putting down trees and all that. And coincidentally, it happens that ST, we have heard also, is planning to plant trees around, more than 3,000 trees. So he couldn't have been a better person. There couldn't have been a better person than ST at this particular moment.
Saul Fraser, CEO of Global Properties, described the signing ceremony as historic, marking the first time they are officially putting pen to paper for a productive partnership with ST.
I see a lot of synergy in what he does and what he represents, and what our company does, and also what we represent. We are very excited about this 2-year journey that we're about to start, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of exciting things that the two brands will do together, and I look forward to really welcoming him on board.
For ST, who is preparing to drop another album, the signing ceremony is a continuation of the good working relations he has had with the real estate developer throughout his music career. He acknowledged the numerous supports extended to him by the company in his previous events. He vowed to continue representing Gambian music and to give the public the best of entertainment. He used the occasion to advocate for his peers in the music industry to be given such opportunities by other companies.
And I am so grateful for this bold step that they have taken and for believing in me. And I want to give special thanks to all my fans out there that have been supporting me so far, and my team. Without them, I probably wouldn't have gotten this far. And I want to encourage all other companies out there, because Gambian artists need support.
Ali Wali, a member of ST's management team, welcomes the signing ceremony, saying this is a big achievement for the Brikama-born singer. Though the parties wouldn't reveal the actual details of the agreement, they appeared satisfied and have promised to respect the agreement for a win-win outcome. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Congratulations to ST for being the ambassador of Global Properties. Now let's take a look at news beyond our borders. Now, as the world grapples with a tsunami of coronavirus infections, including the Omicron variant, scientific research ponders whether natural immunity we get from various infections can be the best substitute for vaccines. Mahmoud Lamin Choi has the rest of that.
The world is still finding answers to the devastating pandemic that has become a major problem over the years. But still not the much-needed solution has been registered, because the virus keeps spreading and mutating into new variants that get us closer to infections, falling sick, and lives lost at an alarming rate. The search for solution to this problem has led to scientists rushing to develop vaccines as the best hope to getting us quickly to the end of the tunnel. However, the virus is also taking shapes and forms that are giving the vaccines the hardest time to offer us immunity and protection. Research indicates that the protection from the vaccines may wane over time, and so recommendations from scientists is for people to take booster jabs, and this is being authorized by some countries for their populations. Recently, the question that attracted scientific research is whether natural immunity driven from previous infections offers better protection than the approved vaccines being rolled out across the world. Research published in August 2021 by the Library of Medicines provide an answer, which states that if one had COVID-19 before and not vaccinated, your risk of getting reinfected is more than 2 times higher than for those who got vaccinated after having COVID-19. Also, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention released a study in October last year, reporting that getting vaccinated for the coronavirus when you have already had COVID-19 significantly enhances your immune protection and further reduces your risk of reinfection. Recently, the coronavirus mutated into a new variant called Omicron. So far, it is reported to be the most transmissible variant. Unfortunately, scientists say current vaccines or immunity derived from previous infections are less effective for the Omicron variant. However, early findings generally show that getting natural immunity from previous infections, vaccine-induced immunity from a single or double jab, or cause of an Omicron infection, is likely to be mild. Having registered cases of Omicron variant, the Gambia has seen its highest speed of transmission and record of COVID-19 infections since the pandemic struck the country in March 2020. Even though recent figures show improvement in our vaccination campaign, the road of infection can be linked to the low number of vaccine uptake in the population. Less than 20% of the population is fully vaccinated. The Ministry of Health last COVID-19 case update shows 330 people infected, making a combined total of 934 active cases and 1 death as of 8 January 2022. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Still on international news, there is a growing anger and criticism of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson over Partygate as dozen MPs issue public criticism and lash out at Downing Street as they reveal they have been inundated with hundreds of angry emails from constituents calling for Prime Minister's resignation. More on this report.
The fury comes amid claims that Downing Street held wine time Fridays every week throughout the pandemic, which Johnson attended, urging aides to let off steam at a time when Brits were banned from socializing indoors. He is facing a mounting Conservative Party backlash over Partygate, and a dozen MPs have issued public criticism of the Prime Minister. And some Tory MPs say they have been inundated with angry emails from constituents calling for him to resign. One such MP, Nigel Mills, who backed Johnson during the Tory leadership contest, expressed his confusion over how so many stupid things could have happened. And Peter Bond, the MP for Willingboro since 2005, said anyone who partied in number 10, the Prime Minister's office and residence, on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral needs to be sacked. It is also being reported that the new MP for Ashfield, Lee Anderson, even created a poll on Facebook asking voters if Johnson should stay as Prime Minister. As the rage over Downing Street pandemic parties gains momentum, a Downing Street official called the palace to apologize for the latest revelations about a party on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral. But aides refused to say whether Mr. Johnson, who was not at the booze-fueled event, would be speaking to the monarch personally about the issue. At the time these parties were held, households were not allowed to mix indoors or in most outdoor places, with exemptions for people in support bubbles, and a maximum of 6 people were allowed to meet in some outdoor public spaces like parks and public gardens. And despite the harsh rules, Downing Street scheduled wine time Fridays into the electronic calendars of 50 number 10 staff every week between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. The end of the week drinks are part of a long-standing tradition in government, but they reportedly continued while the rest of the country were mostly confined to their homes. This is just the latest in a series of damning revelations about the alleged culture of drinking and partying throughout the pandemic at Downing Street. Having first denied knowledge of the party, Johnson has now admitted attending the party, but only for 25 minutes. Ansmane Sonyasi for QTV News.
From that, let's now take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. The Gambia got off to a flying start in the Zone 2 Volleyball Championship, with both male and female teams winning resoundingly against Guinea-Bissau. Our sports reporter Momodu Gajaga watched it at the Independence Stadium volleyball court, and he fastened this report.
The Gambia ladies played their first competitive game following their return from a training camp in Dubai. Guinea-Bissau ladies looked to pose a threat in the opening minutes, but once the hosts settled, they showed power, technique and agility, winning the first set even after trailing by a few points. The hosts looked to be an inexperienced side prior to the game, with a relatively new group of players selected as part of a 4-year project to build a solid female team. For the first time since his appointment over a year ago, Italian Roberto Freirnelli, head coach of the Gambia team, trained and managed the team. He arrived in the Gambia last week after missing out on the team's Dubai camp. Despite the Gambia ladies dominating in all 3 sets, Guinea-Bissau ladies showed some moments of brilliance after the interval, forcing the host to concede some points by blocks and individual errors. Eventually, Gambia won 3 straight sets, 25-8, 25-14 and 25-18 respectively. Elsewhere in the male category, the two countries face each other again at an almost packed Independence Stadium court with fans cheering the team on. The visitors Guinea-Bissau had a good run in the opening minutes, but it did not last long before their signs of weakness showed. The Gambia team, captained by Amadou Jaju, sparked up the court with fierce play, with good serves, spikes and timely blocks. The hosts sealed their incredible performance with a 25-16, 25-11 and 25-6 score. The Gambia will face neighbor Senegal in both the male and female categories on Sunday. Umutu Gajaga, QTV News.
Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us tomorrow for the Week in Review. Bye for now and have a great weekend.